For most of the past 6 decades, banking in Pakistan has been dominated by the same 5 banks: Habib Bank, National Bank, United Bank, MCB Bank, and Allied Bank. These are the Big 5, and they have been the Big 5 for a long time, until now. Bank Al-Habib and Meezan Bank are set to shake the old order of Pakistan's banking system. Both banks have had 2 very different industries, and studying their rise gives us insight into an important question. Just how important is Islamic banking to the sector's future? Farooq Tirmizi looks at the different paths that Al-Habib and Meezan have taken to the top. 2 banks, 2 histories. Of the 2 banks, Bank Al-Habib has the longer history, and not just of the legal entity. The Habib family are possibly the oldest Muslim business family in South Asia that are still in business. Indeed, they started business in 1841, a full 27 years before Jamseti Tata started the Empress Mill in Nagpur that became the foundation of the Tata Group. The Habibs played an important role in Pakistan's initial days, with Muhammad Ali Habib writing a blank check and handing it to Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the country's founder and incoming Governor General, to store in the newly created State Bank of Pakistan. Despite these contributions, Habib Bank was not spared from Bhutto's nationalization. The Habibs would never run HBL again. It would not be until 1991, under Nawaz Sharif, that private sector entities could once again apply for banking licenses. This is how Bank Al-Habib and Habib Metropolitan Bank were established. Given the family origins in trading, Bank Al-Habib has a strong foothold in financing trade, but they have since expanded their footprint towards working capital financing and even longer-term financing for manufacturing businesses. The bank now has one of the most diverse set of clients in the banking industry. More interestingly, the bank has remained largely committed to conventional banking at a time when other banks have sought to jump headlong into Islamic banking. Bank Al-Habib does have a large and rapidly growing Islamic banking division, but the bulk of this growth has come from conventional business. Meezan's history is a lot newer. It originally started off in 1997 as Al-Meezan Investment Bank, an Islamic investment bank. The bank was created by Irfan Siddiqui, its first CEO, who raised the financing for the creation of the bank from investors in the Gulf Arab states. During these initial years, Meezan Bank had a hard time being taken seriously by major corporations. What it didn't have a problem with was attracting deposits from Pakistan's religiously minded Muslim population and lending to previously untapped small and medium-sized businesses. Islamic versus conventional. In terms of deposit growth, there is almost no contest. Meezan Bank has been growing a lot faster than Bank Al-Habib for almost every single period we examined since 2001. Meezan Bank's deposit base has grown at an average rate of 37.7% per year, while Bank Al-Habib's deposits have grown at 22.1% during that same period. The industry as a whole grew by an average of 14.8% per year during that time. Meezan not only grew faster than Bank Al-Habib, but is now larger even in absolute terms. And those higher growth rates are reflected even for more recent time periods, when both banks had massive balance sheets. Meezan innovated with respect to customer lending in a way that most other banks avoid. Islamic borrowing options are something that many religiously minded consumers value, and Meezan has been able to create several options for those customers, like mortgages, auto lending, and even Islamic credit cards. By comparison, Bank Al-Habib has had to work a lot harder to raise its deposit base, especially since it is competing against all of the other conventional banks in the country. While the bank has a large market share in Karachi, the country's financial capital, it has faced a more competitive environment when expanding its business footprint in the rest of the country. Which one will win out? On the surface, the answer is obvious. Meezan has been growing faster and is far more profitable than Bank Al-Habib. But digging a little deeper, one finds that the answer may be somewhat more complex, and that Bank Al-Habib cannot be ruled out as a competitor for a place in Pakistan's Big 5 banks. In terms of profitability, Meezan Bank is easily the single most profitable bank in the country. Its return on equity, the single most important measure of a bank's profitability, is the highest in Pakistan, bar none. But both return on equity and deposit growth are backward-looking indicators. They tell us that Meezan has been the better bank to bet on over the past 2 decades. It is not necessarily a good predictor of what happens over the next 2 decades. The key to Meezan's success has been its dominance of the Islamic banking industry, which is the fastest growing segment of the broader banking sector. But Islamic banking likely has a limit on its growth. Approximately 1/3 of all deposits at some point in the future will be Islamic banking deposits, if current trends do not materially shift. By contrast, because Bank Al Habib offers both conventional and Islamic products and has still managed to grow significantly faster than the Big Five, that implies there's not necessarily a ceiling on its market share. It has a slightly longer climb than Meezan, but it's unlikely to hit a wall later on down the road. Ultimately, it seems that not limiting itself to one set of customers is likely to be the winning strategy in the race to become one of the largest banks in Pakistan.